Colour blocked.
Huh?
Uh-oh. Colours blocked. Gently shake this book from side to side to unclog the pipe.
Huh?
That's odd. Try shaking it up and down this time. Well done. You found red. But look, these pipes are twisted. Turn the book all the way around to straighten them out. Excellent. Yellow is pouring out. And look. Yellow is mixing with red and turning orange. Maybe that's too much. Turn the book sideways to dump some yellow out. Great job. But now, yellow is headed straight for blue. And you guessed it. Yellow and blue are mixing to make green. Yikes! Green is taking over, and blue is almost gone. Quickly push the button to drain blue. You saved blue, but now blue is dripping all over red. Rub the blue with your fingers to wipe it off. Oh dear. Blue smeared with red and turned purple. But wait, what's that sound?
Huh?
Whoosh! Splat! Spray! Quick, turn the book all the way around to close the pipes. Oh no! The pipes must be broken. Colours exploding everywhere. Shut the book. Shut the book. Shut the book. Phew. Colours blocked.
Never let a unicorn scribble. Written and illustrated by Diane Albert. I recently got a pet unicorn. I know it's hard to believe, but it's true. And everyone keeps telling me, never let a unicorn scribble. Why would anyone say such a thing? I mean, unicorns can run on rainbows, so why can't they scribble? Ah! I thought if I gave her just one crayon, what could go wrong? Well, I'll tell ya. Ah! She ate it! my favorite bright pink crayon was traveling to the belly of my unicorn. This is probably why people are saying unicorns should never scribble. Because they eat crayons. Then it occurred to me. Maybe unicorns don't know how to use crayons? So I gathered all my crayons and started to scribble. I made a blue scribble, a pink scribble, a yellow scribble, and even a crazy scribble. Now that she could see how crayons worked, I thought I would give her another chance to scribble. I took out a teal crayon and placed it right in front of her. And she ate half of it! Ah! Listen to me, unicorn. We do not eat crayons. We draw with them. But then I realized a unicorn couldn't hold a crayon like I could. Maybe that was why she was eating them. I had an idea. Maybe if I tied a few crayons to her horn, that would help her scribble. Ah! Within seconds, Glitter's scribbles started shooting out like water from a fire hose. Sparkling rainbow scribbles were everywhere. They were on the floor, on the ceiling, on the walls. They were even on my lamp. I've been begging my mom to redecorate my room for a while now, but I don't think this is what she had in mind. Then I heard a noise down the hall. This was it. I was going to be in so much trouble. I popped out of my room and blocked the door. Before my mom could say anything, I started to explain the mess she was about to see. Well, it all started when I heard to never let a unicorn scribble. But I had to find out why. So I gave my unicorn a crayon. And then she ate it. Then I tried to teach her to scribble. But then she ate another crayon. So I tied the crayons to her horn. And boy, was that horn magical! The scribbles started shooting out like a water fountain, and they were so sparkly! But it made such a mess! And I'm sorry. My mom peeked around the corner and smiled. You didn't make a mess. You made a glowing masterpiece. When I turned around, all the scribbles were right on my easel. Not on the ceiling, not on the walls, not on my lamp. They were all on one big piece of paper. And it was the most amazing art ever. All this time, people wanted to stop unicorns from scribbling. It could be because they eat crayons. Or because it's so messy. But if my unicorn had never scribbled, she would have never learned how to make this masterpiece. So the next time you hear, a unicorn shouldn't scribble, just remember, all great art starts with a scribble. And even unicorns have to start somewhere. The end.
Stay wild, my child. Zoe jumped out of bed.
Wake up, Mom.
She cried.
It's morning.
The sun was shining, the birds were singing. Zoe and her mom had a whole day to spend together. They were going to have a lot of fun. First, they went to the library.
Whoa! Look at all the books.
Shh, said Miss Foster, pointing at the sign. No loud talking or yelling.
Oh?
Zoe looked up at her mom.
Really?
She asked.
Never?
Not here, said Mom. But... here! Yell wild, my child! Next, Zoe and her mom went to the park. This way, said Mr. Jones, waving his spade. No walking on the grass. Zoe looked up at her mom.
Really?
She asked.
Never?
Not here, said Mom. But... here! Run wild, my child.
Watch out, here I come.
Zoe and her mom went to Grandma's house for a visit. Come in, cried Grandma, opening the door. But no wet shoes. Zoe looked up at her mom.
Really?
She asked.
Never?
Not here, said Mom. But... here! Splash wild, my child!
I love the rain! Whoa! Oh, it's wet!
It was time for Zoe to go to school. It's painting day, said Mrs. Scott, and parents are welcome to stay. Zoe's friend said, paint goes on paper, not on you.
Aw.
Zoe looked up at her mom.
Really?
She asked.
Never?
Not here, said Mom. But... here! Paint wild, my child. After school, Zoe and her mom took Buttons for a walk and stopped by a store. A sign read, "No children playing in the store." Zoe looked up at her mom.
Really?
She asked.
Never?
Not here, said Mom. But... here! Play wild, my child!
Whee! I can touch the sky! Higher, Mommy, higher!
Soon it was time for Zoe to go on a play date. Come with me, said Ada, grabbing Zoe's hand. We're going to make a couch fort. All right, girls, but no climbing. Zoe looked up at her mom.
Really?
She asked.
Never?
Not here, said Mom. But here! Climb wild, my child.
Look what I can do! Look at me!
After a long day of fun, it was time for bed. Pajama time, said Mom. Snuggle under the covers. No more adventures today, said Mom, tucking Zoe in. Zoe looked up at her mom.
Really?
She asked. Not now, said Mom, but... Now, she whispered. Dream wild, my child.
Wow! Hey there, monkey. Oh, look, a tiger.
So Few of Me by Peter H. Reynolds. Leo was a busy lad. No matter how hard he worked, there was always more to do. Maybe making a list would help. Leo's list of things to do grew and grew. So few of me and so much to do. If only there were 2 of me. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Leo opened the door and blinked and rubbed his eyes. It was another him. The new Leo grabbed the list and said, 2 of us will get it done. He was helpful, but found even more to do. A third Leo joined the 2. How about 4? 4 makes a fantastic team. But maybe a 5th would be even better. Still not enough. A 6th came in to help organize the lot. After meeting for hours, they decided they needed a 7th. With 7 Leos, there was 7 times as much work. Leo sighed and said, we'll need 8 just to catch our breath. The 8 Leos worked furiously. Maybe 9 Leos would get it done? No. Add 1 more to make 10, each one busier than the next. Leo, 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 and Leo paused to review their list. Back to work! 9 Leos shouted. No time to stop! No time to rest! But Leo himself was exhausted. He slipped away to take a nap. Leo awoke to 9 other Leos staring at him. What were you doing? they demanded. I was dreaming, Leo said softly.
Dreaming was not on the list,
they roared. Leo smiled, still savoring his dream. The Leos disappeared, one by one. Leo wondered, what if I did less, but did my best? Then one Leo is all I need. Just me. Just one, with time to dream.
My little sister. We're playing a pretend game. I'm busy cooking. Jen wants to know what I'm making. A chocolate cake, I say. This is going to be a yummy cake. I crumble some dirt. Jen says, me too. So I let her be my helper. I tell Jen to dribble the water. But she pours it fast. Uh-oh. She makes mush. I fix the cake with sand. I add nuts and berries. Jen adds leaves. Jen mixes and stirs. Then it will be my turn. Mix and stir. Stir and mix. Cake in the pan. Pan in the sun. Now it's baking. Mommy, Daddy, I call. The cake is done. Come and see. I want a big piece, says Mommy. Me too, says Daddy. Jen says, you eat cake. I want a donut. Mommy gives Jen a donut. I get one too. 2 donuts. One for Ken. One for Jen. Happy eating. The end.
Lion of the sky. Haiku for all seasons. Spring. I am a wind bird, sky skipper, diamond dipper, dancing on your string. Colorful flowers. We sprout on stems of people, bloom only in rain. Twigs, sticks, mud, feathers. I'm a closely woven home for cheap, chirping chicks. Shh, here's my secret. Soft petals hide inside me. Coming soon, a bloom. I'm a wriggling tube, soft underground tunneler. I fear early birds. In the still, damp air, you sail leaf boats across me. Tiny sidewalk pond. Summer. My fluffy seeds drift. Tiny puffs lift in the breeze and land who knows where. Wicked wine with wings. That's me buzzing in your ear. Closer, closer, ouch! I'm towers and moat, molded with hands, cups, buckets. Mighty till high tide. I love summer fields. Left field, right field, center field. I fly to them all. Fire in our bellies. We flicker, flash in twilight. Rich meadow of stars. You gasp as I roar. My mane exploding, sizzling. Lion of the sky. Fall. My first day outfit is fresh paint and polished floors. Here come my new friends. I'm a yellow train, carrying thoughts from your brain to the waiting page. I'm red, delicious. With a quick twist of your wrist, I'm free from the tree. Reward for raking. A crispy crowd of loud crunch when you jump in me. I perch on the porch. Spooky face frozen in place. Fire burning inside. I search under oaks and gather tasty treasures. Winter is coming. Winter. We are knitted twins, soft as kittens, warm as hugs. waiting to hold hands. I'm cold confetti, falling from a crystal sky, blanketing the town. I'm thin silver blades, spinning circles, carving lines. You and I, we fly. Lie down in whiteness. Kick and swish and wave your arms. Give me winter wings. Firelight from the past. I wink in the frozen sky, waiting for wishes. In fur coat and cave, I exhale white clouds of breath. Dream of sun, green, spring.
Beautiful hands. What will your beautiful hands do today? Will they plant? What can you plant? Ideas. Or touch. What can you touch? Hearts. Will they lift? What can you lift? Spirits? Or stretch? What can you stretch? Imaginations. Will they reach? What can you reach? For love. And for peace. Truth. Faith. Hope and dreams. What will your beautiful hands do? Tomorrow.
It is not perfect.
Pat, pat, pat.
It is perfect. What?
It is not perfect.
No?
Almost. It needs flags.
We can use these.
Yay! Haha. Now it is perfect.
Yes, but the towers could be taller. Pat, pat, pat. Now it is perfect.
Yay! Huh?
What?
It is not perfect. That wall is too small.
It is.
It should be wider. Dig, dig, dig.
Pat, pat, pat.
Perfect!
Huh?
Well...
Except it needs more towers.
And it needs arches. And windows. And stairs.
And a gatehouse.
And the drawbridge.
Let me see
Hey! It is perfect!
Wow, all that work.
Well, it seemed too bad.
Huh?
Perfect.
Truly.
Flamingo Flamenco. Every creature on Earth has a dance all its own, but none so well known as the Flamingos Flamenco. Those hippos can hip hop. They pop, lock, and drop. But nothing can top the Flamingos Flamenco. When the wallabies waltz, it's a fancy affair. But it doesn't compare to the Flamingos Flamenco. Tigers flap in tap shoes. They shuffle and prance. But there's no better dance than the Flamingos Flamenco. Ballerina bears on point give a graceful ballet. But people still say it's no Flamingo Flamenco. Camels can in a long chorus line. But nothing's as fine as the Flamingos Flamenco. Sloths like to slow dance. I bet you know why. But shouldn't they try the Flamingos Flamenco? We each have a dance, so dance well your part. Dance with all of your heart, even if it's not the flamenco.
Sweet people are everywhere. By Alice Walker. Illustrated by Kim Torres. For young Brian, who is getting a passport. Some of the people in Turkey are very sweet. Some of those in Afghanistan are very sweet. Some of the people in the United States are very sweet. In Canada, too, some of the people are sweet. In Mexico, you will definitely find sweet people. Likewise, in Sudan. There are sweet people among the Zulu in South Africa. And every language group in Africa has some sweet people in it. There are sweet people in Iceland and in Russia. There are many sweet people in Korea. There are millions of sweet people in China. There are sweet people in Japan. If the sweet people were the leaders in historically warring countries, they would treat each other much better. There are sweet people in Congo. There are sweet people in Egypt. And sweet people in Australia. Many sweet people are in Norway. Numerous sweet people are in Spain. There are many sweet people in Ghana and Kenya. And sweet people also in Guam and the Philippines. There are sweet people in Cuba. Many sweet people exist in Iran. There are sweet people in Libya. And Colombia. Sweet people are in Vietnam. Sweet people exist in England and Myanmar. There are sweet people for sure in Ireland. Sweet people are in France. Sweet people are holding on in Syria. They are doing the same in Iraq. Some sweet people live in Venezuela. Many very sweet people live in Brazil. There are sweet people in Israel, as there are sweet people also in Palestine. Actually, in almost every house on the planet, there is at least one very sweet person that you would be happy to know. Sweet people are everywhere. Being sweet, they must not be disappeared. We are lost if we can no longer experience how sweet human beings can be. Promise me never to forget this, no matter how far you go or who sends you.
Alice's Magic Garden. Alice lived at the dreariest boarding school in all of England. The students wore stiff, grey uniforms. Great grey clocks ticked off slow, grey minutes. The drab, dusty rooms even smelled grey. The cook invariably boiled the flavour and colour out of breakfast, lunch and dinner. All the food had the consistency of porridge, except the porridge.
Finish all your food or it's off with your head,
the headmistress screeched. Submerged in unending grey, Alice swallowed a flavourless spoonful and sighed. How I wish for friends to bring colour to my days. Alice forced down her meal and sought solace with playing cards. She felt alone, though the others never left her alone.
Looks like you've been dealt a bad hand.
Finding no friends inside, Alice fled outside. Alice breathed in the fragrant air. She grinned at the lush green grass. She explored around the building until she discovered a walled garden, hidden and untended. Thereafter, she returned to plant petunias, water the wisteria, and dig up dandelions. Beg your pardon? In the calm of her secret wonderland, Alice sang to squirrels and danced with dragonflies. Flowers burst forth like the freckles on Alice's sun-kissed nose. The garden flourished under her care in more than just the usual way, because kindness is a curious thing. One day, a caterpillar struggled in a web. Not to worry. Alice freed it with gentle hands. Are you hot, Laurie Bird? Asked Alice.
Chap!
Alice filled the bird bath with cool water. Later, Alice spotted a grinning cat ready to pounce on a rabbit. Shoo! Find your supper elsewhere! The cat scowled, then vanished. You're safe now, rabbit. Bong, bong, bong. The clock cheerlessly chimed tea time. Alice trudged inside. After the vivid colours of her garden, the shabby walls and dirty windows seemed duller than ever. Another cup of lukewarm water and stale biscuit, I expect. Alice looked down. Bless me! She glanced around for her benefactor. But all she saw was sombre faces staring at their meagre snacks. How curious! Alice shared her treats before the headmistress called everyone to afternoon lessons. Class ended when the clock struggled to toll 5 times. Even the clock sounds tired and grey, thought Alice. But when she reached to gather her things, a golden pocket watch lay gleaming on her notebook. Beautiful, but curiouser and curiouser. I should put this somewhere safe. Alice skipped upstairs to her dull, dingy room. Good heavens, what's all this? I shall gather some flowers for this fine vase. Alice stole to her hidden garden, but she wasn't the only one. One bully trod on the tulips. Another bumped the bird bath. Got any more tarts? Asked one. Aye, and I fancy that gold pocket watch, said another. I'll have that vase, demanded the biggest of the group. Nonsense, they aren't yours and you shan't have them, replied Alice, perhaps more bravely than she felt. The bullies closed in around Alice. One reached for the vase. Alice stood her ground. But she did not stand alone. An enormous caterpillar reared from a rosebush. A griffin with sharp talons swooped past. The bullies shrieked and stumbled from the garden. An unusually large rabbit gave each a thump on the rump, just for good measure. What are you? Asked Alice. We are caterpillar, lorybird, and rabbit. But Rabbit smiled. Kindness is magical. Yours changed us into what you now see. Alice curtsied. Well, many thanks for your kindness. Our pleasure, replied Caterpillar. Caring for each other is what friends do. Friends? Alice's face lit with wonder. So we're friends? Now and forever, they replied. And indeed, her friends brought Alice wonder for the rest of her days.
Allegro. A magical journey through 11 musical masterpieces. One rainy afternoon, Allegro sat at the old family piano. He was plink, trying to plunk, practice his latest bonk piece. But slam! It just wasn't going well. I hate this music, Allegro said. He crumpled it up into a tiny ball and threw it on the floor. There it lay, like a pale dot against the dark wood. But dots are funny things, because if they grow lines, and more lines, and march in lines, they become something that just might transport you to magical places. Away Allegro went, carried off on the sounds of enchanting melodies. He danced with the sailors of wind-tossed ships. He walked in the fragrant meadows of morning's first light. And he explored the shores of uncharted lands. Some melodies were sad and made his heart ache. Some were triumphant and made his heart swell. At times, he wanted to dance a jig. Times, he wanted to march and sing. And at the best of times, he wanted to stand up and shout with joy. I am Allegro! And then slowly, slowly, like the dimming light of the setting moon, the music faded. And Allegro was back home. It was still time to practice. So he did. And he did. he did.
Olivia's Tower. The building power of cells. Olivia loved building towers. She used every block she had to build a tower taller than her head. Impressive, Olivia's mom said. Everything around us is built like blocks in a tower. Everything? Olivia wondered. She looked out the window. No blocks. She looked at her house. There were bricks, but no blocks. She looked at the playground. No blocks. Olivia knew her mom was trying to teach her something, but what was it? Olivia's mom is a scientist, and she understood the world in a detailed way. Maybe if Olivia thought like a scientist, she would know why her mom said everything is built like blocks in a tower. Olivia remembered going with her mom to the laboratory. She loved watching the scientists work. They all wore white coats. They worked with cool things called microscopes, petri dishes, beakers, scales, flasks, and graduated cylinders. Flasks, glass containers that hold laboratory liquids. Their shape helps to keep the liquid from spilling. Scales, used for determining the weight or mass of a sample. Test tube, a thin glass tube closed at one end, used to hold small amounts of material for laboratory testing or experiments. Beakers, a lipped cylindrical glass container for laboratory use. Microscope, an optical instrument used for viewing very small objects, such as mineral samples or animal or plant cells, typically magnified several hundred times. Petri dish, a shallow, circular, transparent dish with a flat lid used for the culture of microorganisms. Olivia's mom told her to be very careful around the Bunsen burners because of their hot, open flame. Olivia thought the science lab was a magical universe. The scientists asked a question. They used their tools to do experiments. Then they found answers to their questions. Sometimes the experiment didn't work like they expected. When this happened, they still gathered information that they used for their next experiment. Then they started all over again after they cleaned all of their tools. One time, Olivia's mom asked her to help with an experiment involving plants. Olivia's mom was growing plants and looking at them under the microscope. Olivia loved to look in the microscope. A small piece of a plant looked completely different under the lens. Olivia could see the individual cells of the plant. They looked like blocks. Olivia's mom told her there were different types of cells that make up all plants and animals. Inside each cell, there were individual parts that each had a job. The nucleus is like the brain of the cell. It stores and protects a special strand of codes called DNA, which gives a plan to the rest of the cell. Nucleus, mitochondrion, ribosomes, Golgi complex, Olivia remembered that the ribosomes in a cell were like construction workers because they link amino acids together to make proteins. Another funny name Olivia remembered was the Golgi apparatus. Its job is kind of like a post office because it packages and transports proteins and other molecules out of the cell. The Golgi apparatus sends things to the places they need to be. The energy they need to do this work is made in the mitochondria. Mitochondria are the powerhouses of the cell. It was fun for Olivia to think about how a little piece of a plant could show her a brain, a post office, construction workers, and powerhouses. Wait a minute, Olivia said. Everything around us is built like blocks in a tower. The cells are the blocks! And when you put a lot of those cells together, you can build anything. Plants, animals, even people. Olivia imagined her blocks being like a cell. Each one would fit in a certain way until it created exactly what it was meant to be. Instead of building a tower, she used a group of blocks to make a dog. With a big pile of blocks, she made a whale. Then with another group of blocks, she made a flower. Oh. Mom! Olivia said, pointing to her creations. Everything is built like blocks in a tower.
part of Nazari's fantastic future. Oh.
Hey, Nazari, what would you like to be when you grow up?
What tantalizing things await me? Ooh. Ah. Daddy, what about doing what astronauts do and fly to a new planet?
Whoa! Houston, this is Nazari. Do you copy?
Or I can be a farmer and make sure the food the world eats is organic. Yep, good crop season this year. Daddy! What about being a construction worker and building homes for all? Going up? Whee! Or I can be an engineer and make a bridge to the moon that won't fall. I've got it! I'm coming for you, Moon. Daddy, what about being a doctor? So I can treat people that have been twisted and twirled. Deep breath. You're gonna be just fine. Or I can be a scientist and freely light up the world. Let's see here. Eureka! I've done it again. Daddy! What about traveling the world and seeing each culture's beauty? This looks delicious. Hi, I'm Nazari. Or I can clean teeth as a dentist with toothpaste that is fruity. Open wide. Have you been flossing? Good job. Wait, Daddy. Can I do all of them?
Lines that wiggle. Lines that wiggle. Lines that bend. Whoa. Wavy lines from end to end. Lines that tickle. Lines that sprout. Bugs have lines that stick right out. Ooh. Lines to trap. Lines to hide. Two lines running side by side. Yeah. Lines that curve. underwater lines that swirl. Lines that crisscross. Oh, man. Lines that mend. Lines with doggies at the end. Lines that scurry. Whoa. Lines in threes. Lines and leaves that grow on trees. Lines that twist. Lines that sway. Lines that swish the flies away. Zigzag lines light up the sky. Rainbow lines are way up high. Lines are everywhere you look. Find some lines not in this book.
The stick. Once there was a boy who had no toys to play with. The other children in the neighborhood had lots of toys. Every afternoon, the boy would go to the park, sit under a big tree, and watch the other children play. Sometimes they let the boy play with their toys. Sometimes not. This made the boy sad. One day, as the boy was sitting under the big tree in the park, he noticed a stick leaning against the trunk. He had never seen such an unusual stick. He picked it up. Suddenly, he was a pirate. Arrgh! Then a baseball player at bat. And then a knight on a steed. The boy noticed that there were words carved into the stick. He sang them like a song. Imagination lives in you. It's the fire in all you do. Use it well, and you can be anything you want to be. The boy carried the stick everywhere, and anywhere he was anything he wanted to be. At the beach, he was a fisherman. At the lake, he paddled a canoe. He was a hiker in the highlands, and his imagination grew. Time passed, and the boy grew up. With the stick's inspiration, he became everything he wanted to be. He took business trips and airplane rides. He sailed the seas on rising tides. He gave of his time. He gave of his wealth. He gave from his heart. He gave of himself. He built a house high on a hill, overlooking the valley where he had grown up. In the distance, he could see the park and the old tree where he used to sit. As the years passed, the boy became an old man. But each day, he took his stick with him to the park and sat on a bench near the tree where he had found the stick so long ago. He would sit for hours and watch the children play. All of the children seemed to have lots of toys to play with, except for one little girl. The little girl always sat under the old tree and watched the other children play with their toys. This made the old man sad. Early one morning, the old man walked to the park, but instead of sitting on the bench, he went over to the tree. He leaned the stick against its trunk, walked to his bench, and waited. Soon, the children arrived at the park with their toys. He waited to see if the little girl would show. He saw her walk slowly toward the tree. She peered down at the unusual stick leaning against its trunk. She picked up the stick, and suddenly, she was a princess. A fencer. Then, a surfer riding a wave. She noticed that there were words carved into the stick, and as she danced away, she sang them like a song. Imagination lives in you. It's the fire in all you do. Use it well, and you can be anything you want to be. And the old man smiled and walked home.
Dream you'll be. Go to bed, each sleepy child, and dream what dreams you might. Dreaming's good most any time, but especially at night. Dream you'll be a movie star with your name lit up in lights. Or that you'll be a superhero, flying around in tights. Would you like to be a doctor, saving people's lives? Or perhaps a beekeeper, tending buzzing hives. What if you're a musketeer, fighting battles with your sword? Or a world-class surfer, catching waves upon your board? Whoa! architect designing a brand new city? Or are you a writer telling stories warm and witty?
You could be a brave firefighter running through a fire.
Or a fearless acrobat high upon a wire. Whoa! Perchance you'll be a dancer leaping across the floor. Or maybe a soccer star with the winning score. How about a veterinarian curing a giant snake? Or a skillful baker baking a giant cake. See yourself as a teacher helping children think. Or a figure skater gliding around a rink. You'd make a fine police officer, saving people in distress. Or a bold explorer, finding the monster of Loch Ness. Imagine you're an astronaut bouncing on the moon. Or maybe you're a famous rocker belting out a tune. Yeah! Dream that you're a pirate sailing oceans blue. Or a brilliant scientist finding something new. Whoa. Do you wish you were a pilot soaring to great heights? Or a clever artist painting the world's great sights? Maybe you're a mountaineer climbing to the summit. Or a fearless skydiver whose job it is to plummet. You could be a football player winning games with teammates. Or maybe you're the president of these United States. This world is full of many things to dream that you can be. Just remember, you're already the most precious thing to me. Now, close your eyes, each sleepy child, and dream what dreams you may. I'll see you in the morning when you start a brand new day.
My dog thinks I'm a genius. When I was 5, I said, I'm an artist. I need to paint and draw every day. Now I'm 8, and I still paint. Louis, my dog, likes to watch me. Sometimes he even helps. This morning, I'm busy working on a painting of a tall building. First, I paint a big gray shape. Louis watches. Then I draw windows. And a door with a handle. I paint the bushes and leave the bottom of the picture for last. Then I ask, Louis, what do you think? Is the picture done? Louis barks, no. I know what Louis wants. He wants to be included. So I add him to the picture. I ask again, now am I done? Louis barks, yes. I tape the picture to the wall and we look at it together. I ask, Louis, do you like my painting? Louis barks and runs all around the studio. He wags his tail and kisses me. I give my picture a title. My dog thinks I am a genius. Then it's time for me to go to school. Louis is sad and a little mad. He does not like to be left alone. While I'm gone, Louis takes a long nap. I leave him a bowl of water and toys to chew on. He is a good dog and usually does not get into any trouble. When I come home, I expect to see Louis waiting at the window. But today, he is not there. What has Louis been up to? I call, Louis, Louis, where are you? No answer from Louis. I called again, Louis, are you in my studio? I'm coming to find you. Louis barks. Louis, if you messed with my paints, you're going to the yard for a timeout. Louis runs to me and jumps up and down. He wants me to see what he has done. I follow Louis to the other side of the studio. I see an awesome painting. Louis, you have talent. You're an artist, just like me. I give Louis' picture a title. My dog is a genius.
Little heroes, inventors who changed the world. Kai Loon. Little Kai liked watching wasps make their delicate nests from strips of bamboo. In AD 105, Kai gathered tiny pieces of bark, old rags, and fishing nets. He mixed them together, pressed the mixture flat, and dipped it in water. When the sheet dried, presto! Kai had invented the first piece of paper. Johannes Gutenberg. Like a new star, it shall scatter the darkness of ignorance and cause a light heretofore unknown to shine amongst men. Little Johannes lived at a time when hardly anyone had books because it took too long to write out copies by hand. Around 1439, Johannes set metal letters down in a block. Adding ink and paper, Johannes created the first printing press. He could print thousands of pages in no time. Ideas started spreading around the globe. Leonardo da Vinci. Learning never exhausts the mind. Little Leonardo was curious about everything. He watched, he measured, he wrote, he wondered. He drew plans for machines that became real hundreds of years later, like a submarine, bicycle, and helicopter. With his greatest tool, a paintbrush, Leonardo invented ways to paint that made him the most famous artist in the world. Thomas Edison. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. Little Thomas was always reading and asking questions. One question was, why must I use dirty, smelly gas lamps to light my home at night? He began to tinker with light bulbs. In 1879, after hundreds of failed attempts, he finally found a way to keep one lit. Now people all over the world use electricity to see in the dark. Louis Pasteur. To know how to wonder and question is the first step toward discovery. Little Louis lived when no one really knew why people got sick. Using his microscope, he looked and looked and looked for the answer. Finally, Louis discovered something no one else could see: germs. He found that if you boiled the germs, they went away. In 1885, Louis learned that germs could protect people too. Since then, Louis' vaccines have saved millions of lives. Marie Curie. Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. Little Marie loved to study elements, materials that come from the earth. She tested a special rock until she found a strange glowing blue light. What could it be? Marie had discovered a brand new element, radium. Doctors soon found that radium could fight off deadly cancers. In 1903, Marie was the first woman to ever win a Nobel Prize. The Wright brothers. Isn't it astonishing that all these secrets have been preserved for so many years just so we could discover them? Little Wilbur and Orville were brothers who liked to tinker with machines. One day, their father brought home a toy helicopter that flew. They wanted to fly too. They studied the wings, the tail, and everything they needed to know about flight. Crashing never discouraged them for long. Finally, in 1903, they flew the first airplane. Grace Murray Hopper. If you've got a good idea and you know it's going to work, go ahead and do it. Little Grace loved learning about math, science, and cool gadgets. Once, she took apart 7 alarm clocks just to see how the gears worked. When she got older, Grace figured out how to program a room-sized computer to respond to human language, not just number codes. Now people all over the world can use computers every day. These heroes imagined and invented a better world. What kind of hero will you be?
Hot Roti for Dada-Ji. Anil was glad his grandparents had come to stay. Dada-Ji was teaching him to stand on his head and to sit like a serene lotus. Dadima's prayer song made him bob his head from side to side, and the sweet curling smoke from her incense stick tickled his nose so. But his grandparents' stories were the best of all. Anil loved hearing about the faraway village with the green wheat fields and the swaying coconut palms. "Who's telling me a story?" asked Anil one day. No one answered. Sweet smoke snaked into his nose, and the tinkle of a tiny bell murmured in his ear. Dadima's eyes were closed. Hari Om, Hari Om, she chanted. Anil turned to Dada-Ji, who was standing on his head. Will you tell me a story, Dada-Ji? Anil asked. Haji, yes sir, 1 minute, said upside-down Dada-Ji. Then he flipped over, landing with a soft thump, and became a serene lotus on the rug. Anil hopped on his grandfather's lotus lap, and Dada-Ji began. In a village far, far away, where the warm breeze made the green wheat fields dance and the brown coconuts rustle, lived a lad who astonished the villagers morning, noon, and night. Anil winked at Dada-Ji. After all, the lad in the story was none other than his very own Dada-Ji long, long ago. Dada-Ji went on. In the morning, the lad wrestled a snorting water buffalo, and the villagers cried, "Arey va! Oh wow!" At noon, he tied 2 hissing cobras in a knot. "Wah!" cheered the villagers. At night, the mighty lad spun 3 trumpeting elephants by their tails. "Wah! Wah!" shouted the villagers. What made the lad so strong? It was the hot, hot roti that sizzled and whistled on Badima's wood hearth. You see, Baba, Badima made the best roti around. Hungry villagers trampled tall fields and swam angry rivers to sniff the fluffy, puffy roti that bubbled and wobbled in ghee on the hot, hot tawa pan. Each day, the lucky lad smacked his lips and rubbed his belly and ate a stack so high with a bit of tongue-burning mango pickle. He wanted the power of the tiger, Baba. Oh. After the lad had gobbled up the last roti, he licked salty specks from his fingertips, one by one, and burped twice. Then the power came rolling in like a great flood. Arriva! Haji! Yes, sir, said the mighty lad. And off he went to do more wonderful things. He made the earth rumble beneath him in the morning. He shook the giant mango tree for Badima's pickled pot at noon. And he touched the blue, blue sky with his bare feet at night. Arey va! The villagers roared. Va! Va! Arey va! Dada-Ji looked at Anil and rubbed his belly. A rumble grew into a mighty roar. He smacked his lips. Does the lad still have the power, Dada-Ji? Anil asked. There's only one way to find out, Baba, said his grandfather. Does he want roti today? Anil asked. Haji, hot, hot roti, Dada-Ji said, his mouth beginning to water. With salty grains to lick? Said Anil. And a bit of tongue-burning mango pickle, Dada-Ji said, drooling a little. Anil ran to ask his mother to make roti, but she was on the phone with Auntie Vinu. So Anil tugged at the edge of Dadima's sari. No roti today, she said with her eyes and shooed him away. Next, Anil tried his dad, who only ruffled the newspaper and dug his nose deeper into the pages. Finally, Anil tried his big sister Kiran, but she didn't want sticky globs of dough getting under her starry nails. Don't worry, Dada-Ji, said Anil. I watch Mom make roti all the time. I'll help you get your power back. Anil opened the kitchen cupboard. He pushed past the rice and the red lentils. He pushed past the spices and the green lentils. Watch out, cried Mom. Anil found the flour and dumped some into a big bowl. Anil found the salt and dumped that in too. Ay, hi, oh dear, exclaimed Dadima. So much! But Dada-Ji loved salt. Next, Anil added the water. Tch, cried Mom. So much! Kiran laughed at the watery mess, but Anil didn't care. He just dumped in more flour. Achoo! Kiran sneezed in a floury cloud. Arey wah! The boy has talent! Cried Dada-Ji. Anil mixed the flour and water and added more salt and began to knead the dough. He punched and he pushed and he pulled. Arey wah! Exactly like Badima, shouted Dada-Ji. When the dough was smooth, Anil rolled it into balls, enough for a roti stack as high as the ceiling. Then Anil grabbed a rolling pin and one of the balls. The dough stuck here and it stuck there, but Anil didn't give up. He rolled north and he rolled south. He rolled east and he rolled west.
Beta.
Haji! cheered Dada-Ji. Here it goes! Bit by little bit, the first roti began to form. It looks like the USA, Kiran said and laughed. Roti can be any shape, right, Baba? Dada-Ji said, winking at Anil. Anil rolled out more and more balls of roti dough. Dekho, look! Roti number 10 is a perfect circle, remarked Dadima. Aji, practice makes perfect, said Dada-Ji. When it was time to cook the roti, Dadima got the tava pan, smoky hot, and added some butter. The first roti hissed. Very carefully, Dadima helped Anil flip it. The roti danced and sputtered some more, all brown and buttery. Did Badima make them like this? Anil asked. Haji, Dada-Ji said, nodding. At last, all the roti were ready. Anil piled them up in a high stack. Hot, hot roti for Dada-Ji! He announced in his biggest voice. Wah, wah! Exclaimed Dada-Ji. He grabbed a warm, steamy roti from the stack and took one bite. And another. And another. He chomped and he chewed. Dada-Ji said, smacking his lips. Slurp, slurp, slurp. He licked salty specks from his fingertips one by one. Do you feel the power, Dada-Ji? Anil asked. Haji, Dada-Ji said, flexing his muscles. Find me a snorting water buffalo to wrestle. Anil giggled. There are no water buffalo here. Two hissing cobras to tie in a knot? Dada-Ji asked. Dada-Ji! Anil laughed. Well, surely those are 3 elephants I hear trumpeting in the backyard, Dada-Ji said as he gobbled up another roti and licked the salt from his fingertips. Anything is possible, Baba. Let's see what we can do. Hand in hand, Anil and Dada-Ji went outside to find new adventures. First, they made the earth rumble under their feet. Then, they shook a mighty apple tree for Dadima's pie. Higher, Dada-Ji, higher! Last, they made their bare feet touch the blue, blue sky. Dada-Ji, the power came back! Anil cried. Dada-Ji smiled. Haji, he said, the power of the hot, hot roti came back to the lad from a village far, far away. Thank you, my tiger. Thank you.
Irving Berlin, the immigrant boy who made America sing. Irving stood on tiptoe to see over the rail. Behind him, too far to glimpse, was Russia, where angry Cossacks had burned his family's home to ashes. Ahead was America. What would they find there? Suddenly, people pointed to a strange green figure in the distance. Was this the famous Statue of Liberty? The passengers whispered. Then a melody rose and flew to her like Noah's dove in search of safe land. Shema Yisrael. Hear, O Israel. Irving's heart lifted and soared. His thin, high voice joined in, gathering strength with each note. The statue seemed to welcome them. God bless America, his mother said. God bless America, Irving whispered. He could hear the statue singing her own special song, low and warm. One day, Irving promised himself, I'm going to write a song just for her. Life in America was strange. Instead of his small shtetl with dirt roads and wooden houses, Irving wove his way through crowded sidewalks. Big buildings blocked the light. Carriages rumbled down streets, and a crazy, thrilling metal contraption called an elevated train clanked and whooshed overhead. He still heard Yiddish and Russian, but now it was mixed with English, Italian, and German from all the different people who had come to America. Music was everywhere. Irving sang in the synagogue with his father, who had been a cantor in Russia, the one whose voice carried people's prayers to the heavens. Walking home, the melodies in his head mixed with the crack of stickball games, the wail of the ragmen, and the creak of cartwheels on the cobblestones. Back in his family's crowded apartment, there were more sounds. The steady treadle of the sewing machine in the apartment next door, the thump of his mother kneading dough, and soft laughter when his father pressed his cheek against her floury face. Irving lay awake, late at night, trying to fit all the notes and words together. When Irving was 13, his father died. Still a boy, Irving quit school to sell newspapers, earning pennies to help feed his family. Ashamed of being another mouth to feed, he scrounged scraps and slept in a dirty tenement with hundreds of other ragged homeless kids. Even there, he was always listening. Snatches of jazz, bits of lullabies, whispered jokes. One day, while he was selling papers, he couldn't stop the notes swirling in his head. He burst out singing. People stopped, smiled, and tossed him coins. Irving stared at the bits of copper glinting in the sun. People were paying him for music? Would they do it again? He tried singing popular songs on street corners. Irving didn't have the strongest voice, but his hummable melodies and catchy rhymes made people smile and stick around for more. People threw enough coins that a passing restaurant owner noticed and offered Irving a job as a singing waiter. A real job, making music. Irving wanted to write the melodies he heard in his head and felt in his heart, but he didn't know how. So every day after the restaurant emptied, he slowly tried to pick out tunes on the old piano. At first, he was terrible, but slowly he got better. People noticed. When a singer at another restaurant wrote a hit song, Irving's boss asked him to do the same thing. Irving still didn't know how to write down music, but the restaurant's pianist did. He helped Irving write Marie from Sunny Italy. They sold it for 37 cents. At 19, Irving was a paid songwriter. Word spread about the talented singing waiter. Irving was hired to write words for songs by the Ted Snyder Company. But he wanted to write the melodies too. He sang tunes to a pianist and paid him a few cents to write down the notes. 4 years after his first sale, Irving wrote Alexander's Ragtime Band. The song was so catchy, so irresistible, it became an international hit. Years later, stars like Al Jolson, Louis Armstrong, and Judy Garland would perform it. People all the way in Irving's native Russia went wild dancing to it. Irving wasn't a waiter anymore. His songs made a lot more than pennies. Now he and his family were never hungry or worried about how to pay rent. But even after he moved to a fancy apartment, Irving would walk a few blocks to his old neighborhood in the Bowery, where he could listen to the rhythms of the street, the sounds that would fill his music. When the United States entered World War I, the Army put Irving to work, writing patriotic songs. He wrote an entire Broadway musical for the soldiers called Yip Yip Yap Hank. His mother watched proudly, wishing his father could hear the applause as Sergeant Berlin sang, "Oh, how I hate to get up in the morning." Every night, the audience roared as Irving and the 300-person cast marched down the aisles and out the door, singing the final song, "We're on our way to France." On closing night, the soldiers marched out the door and onto the troop carrier, which took most of them to France for real. "20 years later, when the United States was getting ready to enter World War II, Irving wanted to help his country again. he picked up a song that he'd originally written for the World War I show finale, but never used. It ended with 3 notes from the Shema, as he remembered hearing them on the boat, coming to America, long ago when the statue had smiled at his prayer. He blended the melody with his mother's words, "God bless America." At the end of the old melody, he added new words about the land he loved. Irving showed the song to his friend, Kate Smith, the famous singer. Would she understand what he was trying to say? Kate hummed the notes, read the words, and nodded. From the mountains, to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam, Americans all over the country huddled around their radios, listening to Kate Smith sing "God Bless America." On the eve of the dark days of World War II, the song filled them with hope and courage. It still fills people with hope and courage. Over the years, Irving earned a lot of money from songs like "Always," "There's No Business Like Show Business," and "White Christmas." But he never took a penny for "God Bless America." Irving gave everything the song earned, millions of dollars, to children in the Girl and Boy Scouts. It was his thank you to the country that opened its arms to countless people from all over the world, including a homeless boy who came to America with nothing but music in his heart.
A Boy Like You. There are billions and billions and billions of people in the world. But you are the only you there is. And the world needs a boy like you. The world needs a boy to be kind and helpful, to be smart and strong. Maybe your strong is making sure everyone has a chance to play. Maybe your smart is knowing the precisely right, perfect pass to make. Oh boy, be you, the you that makes you feel most alive. Play hard, but play fair. Be a great teammate. Say, nice goal, and good try. Don't say you throw like a girl, ever. And remember, there's so much more than sports. There are vegetable gardens to grow and flowers to give. There are cakes to bake and eat too. There are instruments to play and songs to sing. There are stories to read and stories to write. There are science experiments to do and math problems to solve. Oh boy, be curious. Take a risk and raise your hand. Smart kids ask questions, so ask a lot of them. The more you know, the less you'll fear. Here's a secret that not many people know. fear and bravery are partners. You can't be brave without first being afraid. If you're not ready to be brave, ask for help. This shows you're smart. Sometimes you may feel like crying. Cry. This shows you're strong. One day, you'll be a man, and men cry too. Oh boy, dream big. You are unique, and your dreams are yours to dream. It's okay to not know exactly what you want to be or what you will become, but whatever you become a good one. And remember this about dreams. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you work for. So work hard for what you want. In this world, you will meet all kinds of people, and all of them are different. Ask people to tell you their stories. Then listen. Listen hard. Stories connect all of us. They're part of what makes us who we are. Don't forget to tell your own story too. As you travel and come and go, hug your family and high-five your friends. High-five your family and hug your friends. Walk with your head up. You'll want to see where you're going. Smile at people and say hello. Leave every place you visit better than you found it. And leave every person better than you found them. Say please. Say thank you. Say I love you. And if that's not exactly right, simply say I like you. And maybe most importantly, say how may I help? Helping each other is the best way to make our world stronger. Oh boy, be thoughtful. Eat lunch with the new kid. Hold the door for the person behind you. Do the right thing, even when no one is looking. And most of all, be you. You'll discover that the best you is the you that is all you. Not a little you and a little someone else. You are original, and that's a wonderful thing. And always remember, the world needs a boy, a smart boy, a brave boy, a kind boy. Oh boy, a boy like you.
Who made these waffles in the sand? Crisscross, zigzag in the sand. Some are deep, some are shallow, some are wide, and some are narrow. I run, I jump, I skip. I'm looking for the waffle maker. Whoopee! look up and wonder, did the waffles fall from a whipped cream cloud in the blueberry sky? Look what I found! Waffles melting under the yellow, buttery sun covered with salty, syrupy sea. I twirl and spin around. Guess what I see? The waffle maker was me. I made the waffles in the sand.
What do you see? When you close your eyes, the world goes black. When you open them, everything comes back. I can open and close my eyes. Can you? When my eyes are closed, I don't see anything at all. How about you? I can open my eyes wide. I look at myself in the mirror. Can you? From my window, everything I see looks small. Outside my window, down below, cars and people stop and go. Look outside. What do you see? Can you make the bugs bigger? With a magnifying glass? Everything I see looks big. Stand on your head. Balance on your crown. Everything you see is upside down. I can stand on my head. Can you? Read a book about a pup. Make sure to hold it right side up. When I read, I make sure my book is right side up. I wear eyeglasses. Who wears eyeglasses? Do you? Mix red and blue.
make a purple hat.
Mix red and yellow. Make an orange cat.
Mix yellow and blue. Make a green boat.
Mix red and white. Make a pink coat.
I see colors everywhere I look.
What colors do you see?
What do you see when it is dark? Turn on the lights, and what do you see? When it's really dark and I am in bed, I see shadows on the wall. Do you see shadows on your wall?
The end!
Beautiful Shades of Brown. The Art of Laura Wheeler Waring. Laura loved the color brown. She loved her mother's chocolate-colored hair, her father's caramel coat, and all the different browns in the cheeks of her younger sister and brothers. Some languages have 50 words for snow, she thought, swirling her brush in a puddle of chestnut paint. There should be 50 words for brown. It was hard to get each shade right. Laura dabbed a spot of paint on her skin. It didn't match at all. Not until she added some red and yellow. Maybe you didn't see brown in a rainbow, she thought. But brown was a rainbow, with orange and blue, red and green tucked inside, playing hide and seek. Laura spent hours mixing and blending, trying for the precise shade of the russet crinkles by her father's eyes and the coffee-colored creases in her mother's hands. She bribed her sister and brothers with peppermints to sit, while she tried to capture all their colors. One day, she dreamed, her paintings would hang in museums, and everyone would see how much color brown could hold. That was a crazy idea for a 10-year-old in Connecticut in 1897. African Americans had separate neighborhoods, churches, and schools. Nobody was going to put paintings of African Americans on museum walls. Laura was young, but she was determined. Maybe there weren't portraits of African Americans in museums yet, but she could turn her room into a gallery. At least there, her sister and brothers could see pictures of people with all different shades of brown smiling back at them. high school, Laura wanted only one thing: to go to a real art school, a place where she could learn to get the images she saw in her head out onto canvas. She applied to the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. It was far from home, expensive, and nearly all white. But when she got the acceptance letter, there was no question. Laura would get a job if she had to, but she would go. The academy was a good start, but Laura was hungry to learn more, to be around real artists. Everyone knew there was only one place to study art: Paris. Laura worked hard and won a scholarship. Clutching her paint box, she boarded a ship. Just like at school, nearly everyone around her was white. But her sketchbook was filled with portraits of people she loved, with luminous brown tones she didn't want to forget. In Paris, Laura visited museums and studied the paintings of Monet, Manet, and Cézanne. She set up her easel in the Jeu de Paume and copied the green skin of Lautrec's singers, the blue faces of Matisse's women, the caramel bodies of Gauguin's Tahitians. All the different ways people could be painted reminded Laura of what she'd wanted from the start: to paint portraits like the people she knew, people full of beautiful shades of brown. Back home in Philadelphia, Laura heard about a young African-American singer performing Handel's Messiah at the Union Baptist Church. Marian Anderson was just a teenager, but when she walked out on stage, she held her head as high as a queen. Then Marian sang, and she didn't sound young at all. Laura's eyes filled with tears. It was as if she was hearing what she had been trying to paint for so long. Marian's notes rose and danced about her in beautiful shades of brown. One day, I'm going to paint Marian Anderson, Laura promised herself. Paris had made Laura's painting more bold and confident. News spread about the remarkable artist whose subjects breathed on canvas. In 1944, the director of the Harmon Foundation told Laura they wanted to build a collection of portraits of important African Americans. Would Laura like to paint them? Yes, she would. Laura painted journalist and activist Alice Dunbar Nelson with ebony brown gloves on her rosy brown skin, proud in a bright yellow dress. She painted Broadway lyricist and poet James Weldon Johnson, a dashing dark mustache on his sensitive face. She painted educator and writer W.E.B. Du Bois wearing a warm brown suit and smoky topaz tie, holding sorrel-colored glasses. Laura was looking for more subjects when she saw a familiar name in the news. Marian Anderson had just been invited to sing at the White House, the first African American to do so. Marian's music was breaking down walls. Could a portrait by Laura break down walls too? asked Marian if she would sit for a portrait. Yes, she would. Day after day, Marian posed. Laura mixed shades of brown, burnt umber with yellow and dabs of white. No, that wasn't it. How about a little green and violet? Closer. Laura wiped her paint-spattered forehead. Traces of red and cerulean blue? Laura looked at Marian and saw again the teenager singing so soulfully years ago. She heard again the music in all its beautiful shades of brown. She felt the melody travel down her fingers as she dipped her brush into the paints of her palette and found the exact luminous shade of Marian's beautiful brown skin, her gown, the room. Laura put down her brush. She held her breath as Marian studied the painting, hoping the great singer would see her spirit mirrored there. Marian smiled. Yes, she did. People flocked to see Laura's paintings as they traveled around the country. After the tour, the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C., hung Laura's paintings in the National Portrait Gallery. Now her portraits weren't hidden in her bedroom, but hung in gilt frames on the walls of a real museum. Now everyone could see the rainbow shining through each tone of brown. And children, like her nieces and nephews, could see faces like theirs and how beautiful they were.
Sweet dreams, Sarah. Before the Civil War, Sarah obeyed her owner. Hurry up. Eyes down. Don't speak. Slaves were property, like a cow or a plow or the cotton that grew in the master's fields. But every day, Sarah dreamed of a different life. A husband, a family, a job that she loved. Her father was a carpenter. With a hammer in his hands, he could build anything. Sarah thought she could too. Then something happened that changed their lives forever. A new law freed people from slavery. Sarah moved to Chicago with freedom in her pocket, hope in her heart, and dreams swirling in her head. She made her first dream come true when she married a kind stair builder named Archibald Good. They started a family, her second dream. Sarah rented out rooms in their home to people who needed a place to live. She saved every penny she could to pay for her third dream, her own furniture store. Every day, Sarah worked alongside her husband. Measure, cut, sand. And every day, Sarah listened to her customers. Pretty crowded at our place. There are 5 of us crammed into one room. Sure wish the kids had their own bed. Many of Sarah's customers worked at low-paying jobs, and even those with big families could only afford to live in a one-room apartment. Sarah looked at the furniture in their store. Too boxy, too bulky, too big. Then Sarah had an idea, another dream. Maybe she could build a piece of furniture that would save space for her customers. If she could create a new kind of bed that folded up when it wasn't being used, each kid could have their own bed. Sarah hurried to the lumber yard, clutching her precious saved coins, and when she returned home, she began building her invention. Measure, cut, sand. Finally, she hammered in the last nail. Standing back, she looked at her creation, a desk, but not just any desk. Inside the cabinet doors, a fold-out bed was hidden. Sarah pulled. She pushed. Stuck. Sarah took it all apart and started over again. But everything went wrong. Wood split, nails bent. The bed wouldn't lay flat. Sarah didn't give up. She took a deep breath and dove right in to fix it again. At last, she stepped back and smiled. Now, when she pulled out the bed, it slid back in without a catch or a squeak. Archibald wanted to sell it in the store right away, but Sarah knew there was one more thing she had to do. She'd dreamt it. She'd built it. Now she needed to claim it. Sarah needed to get a patent. A patent is a piece of paper from the government that says no one else can make or sell your invention. If someone else got the patent first, Sarah would lose the right to make and sell her cabinet beds. Sarah met with a patent attorney and they filled out the application. She explained how her cabinet bed was a new and useful idea. Sarah slipped the documents into an envelope and mailed it. And the waiting began. Months passed. Had the application gotten lost in the mail? Had they found out she was a woman or that she was Black? Sarah knew some people thought a woman should stay at home to cook and clean and take care of the children. She knew that others believed if you had dark skin, you didn't have a right to own anything, and certainly not a patent. But Sarah knew better. After a year, a letter finally arrived. Denied. There were already patents on similar inventions. Sarah needed to prove hers was different. Carefully, she changed a word here and a sentence there, explaining more about her unique mechanism, the idea that had come to her so long ago. Slipping the paperwork and a bit of her heart into the envelope, Sarah sealed her fate and sent it off. Once again, she waited. This time, a thick envelope arrived from the U.S. Government Patent Office. Sarah took a slow, deep breath. She slid out the papers. She read out loud. S.E. Good, Cabinet Bed. Number 322177. Patented July 14th, 1885. Staring at her name in print, Sarah proudly traced each letter. Her idea, her invention, her name in history. She had built more than a piece of furniture. She had built a life far away from slavery. A life where her sweet dreams could come true.
Color Train. All aboard the Color Train. Let's have some painting fun. The artists of the world will teach the colors one by one. Step right up to board and give your ticket to Van Gogh. Have your paper? Have your paints? All right now, here we go. Little Cézanne painted still red apples. Little Gwen John painted a vermilion blouse. Little Duncanson painted an orange lock. Little David painted Napoleon's canary cloak. Little Van Gogh painted yellow sunflowers. Little Van Eyck painted a chartreuse dress. Little Seurat painted a green lawn for Sunday afternoons. Little Cassatt painted a teal sunbonnet. Little Hokusai painted a great blue wave. Little Friedrich painted a periwinkle sea of fog. Little Monet painted a pond of purple lilies. Little Fragonard painted a frilly pink dress. Little Vermeer painted a brilliant white pearl. Little Whistler painted his mother in a black dress. Little Da Vinci painted a mysterious ochre smile. Little Rembrandt painted a dark brown night of watching. Little Klimt painted a woman in gold. Little Archimboldo painted with a full rainbow of fruits and vegetables.
And the People Stayed Home by Kitty O'Meara. Read by Kate Winslet. And the people stayed home. And they listened. And read books. And rested. And exercised. And made art. And played games. And learned new ways of being. And were still. And they listened more deeply. Some meditated. Some prayed. Some danced. Some met their shadows. And the people began to think differently. And the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed, and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses days to live and heal the earth fully, as they had been healed.
First Words for Little Artists by Kyle Kirshner. Pen. Drafting triangle. T-square. Pencils. French curve. Eraser. Glue. Sighting. Crosshatch. Value scale. Negative shape. Positive shape. Highlight. Reflective light. Cast shadow. Cityscape. Film. Camera. Portfolio. chamois. Still life. Clip. Tortillon. Viewfinder. Skeleton. Art horse. Proportion. Landscape. Cast. Cube. Sphere. Cone. Cylinder. Mannequin. Armature. Pottery wheel. Clay. Sponge. Loop tool. Computer. RGB. CMYK. Tablet. Stylus. Lamp. Desk. Contrast. Geometric. Contrapposto. Plein air. Caricature. Lascaux. Ceramic. O'Keeffe. Thibaut. Warhol. Wood. Dolly. Every child is an artist. Pablo Picasso.
Mr. Fairy. Written by Morgane Decadier. Illustrated by Florian Piget. Everyone knows the forest is full of all kinds of fairies. There are morning fairies, brave fairies, sleepy time fairies, and even fairies that clean. And then there's Mr. Fairy. Mr. Fairy is not a morning fairy. He cannot get up in time to wake the forest animals. He barely makes it to breakfast. Mr. Fairy is not a kissing fairy. He cannot make the couple kiss. He tries. He waves his wand. But all he gets are giggles. Mr. Fairy is not a boo-boo fairy who fixes and heals and makes it all better. Mr. Fairy tries. He waves his wand, but the trees turn to pink fluff. Mr. Fairy sighs. I cannot get it right. I'm the most useless fairy in the forest. I'm the fairy of nothing at all. Sad and unhappy. Mr. Fairy leaves his forest home. He flies far away to another, very different forest. Mr. Fairy had never seen a forest like it. Here, everything is dark and gray and colorless. People walk around with their faces down, lost in the gloom of the streets. Just like Mr. Fairy, everyone here seems sad and unhappy, too. Mr. Fairy wants to help. Cautiously, he waves his wand. Suddenly, light bursts over the drab city walls in beautiful shades of color. One by one, smiles appear on the faces of the people. No longer feeling sad and unhappy, Mr. Fairy flies on. He sees people heading underground and decides to follow. Mr. Fairy flies between the people, under arms and over bellies. Waving his magic wand and flapping his tiny wings, he tickles everyone in his path. Soon, the whole train is rocking left to right with laughter. That tickles, they say, as they chuckle and smile. Excited by the changes in the people below, Mr. Fairy flies back up to the street. He sees more gloomy faces. What can I do now? He asks himself. Mr. Fairy tries. He waves his wand, and the umbrellas change into huge pink balls. Balls of cotton candy. The delight and happiness on the faces of the people reminds him of his friends back home. Immediately, he turns back toward the forest, his forest. Flying as fast as he can, he travels home. Something is worrying him. Mr. Fairy arrives and cannot believe his eyes. What happened to the colors of the forest? Where are all his happy forest friends? Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? His friends call out, "Mr. Fairy! Mr. Fairy, we are so glad you're back! We lost the gift of laughter. We've tried everything, but we are unable to find our smiles." Without a word, Mr. Fairy confidently waves his wand. And color and laughter return to the forest. What Mr. Fairy had not known was he was not the most useless fairy. He was not the fairy of nothing at all. Mr. Fairy finally realized that although he could not wake the forest or magic a kiss, he could make it all better in his own special way. Everyone knows the forest is full of all kinds of fairies. There are morning fairies, brave fairies, sleepy time fairies, and even fairies that clean. But there is only one who can make you smile, who spreads happiness and joy wherever he goes. And his name is Mr. Fairy.
Naughty and nice. Emily and Alex are twins. They have the same birthday. They have the same last name. They have the same mommy and daddy. But they can be as different as... Quiet. Blah, 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 blah. Noisy! Slow. Fast. Dressed. Undressed. Brave. Afraid. In. Out. Brr. Cold. Oof. Hot. Push. Pull. Yummy. Ugh, yucky. Light. Dark. Oops. Sad. Glad. One. Many. Naughty. Nice. Bye. Bye.
The Boy Who Grew a Forest. The true story of Dada-Ji. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is now. Proverb. In India, on a large river island, among farms and families, hard at work, there lived a boy who loved trees. Trees meant shade, food, and shelter for many. But each rainy season, floodwaters swallowed more and more of the beautiful tree-covered land. The boy's precious island was shrinking, eroding away with the rushing river, leaving empty sandbars behind. The boy witnessed animals stranded on those sandbars, their homes destroyed. He feared that if animals withered without trees, people would too. The boy shared his fears with the village. The elders explained that the only way to help animals was to create new homes for them. They gifted the boy with 20 bamboo saplings. Alone, he canoed down the muddy river. He wished he could cover all the land with trees. But a large sandbar nearby was a place to start. The land was too barren for animals, the shores too sandy for leafy trees. Would bamboo grow? The boy hoped. Determined, he began to plant. 1 shaft, 2, then 3. Every day, he watered the saplings by hand, sweat trickling down his face and chest. He built a watering system to help and lugged heavy buckets from the river. His arms grew tired, his back sore. Still, each day he tended to the plants, and over time, the bamboo patch grew into a healthy thicket. The boy was proud of his work, but he worried it wouldn't be enough to stop the swelling river or to provide shelter for animals. If he wanted more plants to grow, he would have to create a richer soil. The boy carried cow dung, earthworms, termites, and angry red ants that bit him on the journey to the new home. He brought seeds from neighboring villages, over trails, through brush, down the river. Each day he planted. As years passed and the boy grew, so did a forest. 10 acres, 20 acres, then 40. Wildlife returned for the first time in many years. Buffalo, one-horned rhinos, and snakes, gibbons, migratory birds, and elephants. The man's forest teemed with life and diversity. Not everyone was happy. Fear swept over the villages when tigers arrived. So the man planted more grasses to attract small animals that would keep the tigers happy in the forest. Elephants wandered into neighboring farms to feast on the crops. So the man planted more fruiting trees to help feed the hungry elephants. Some wanted to harvest the forest to build homes. But the man was there to plant anew. Others tried to hunt the animals for their horns and fur. But the man was there to protect. Few thought the forest would last, but the man believed in its strength. Now in India, on a large river island, among wildlife and trees as tall as buildings, there lives a man who has planted a forest. The forest is called Molai, after a man named Jadav Molai Payeng, who never stopped planting and pruning and protecting. Only by growing plants, the earth will survive. Jadav Payeng.
Willa and the Wind. Willa was a whimsical girl, and Willa loved the wind. She longed to be like the leaves that fluttered by her window and floated through her long locks of hair. She loved the way they danced in the air like a beautiful ballet, and the sound of the loud whoosh from their perfectly harmonized whirls. But Willa's favorite thing about the leaves was the way they flew freely through the air wherever the wind wanted to take them. Willa wanted to be just like the leaves in the wind. Willa wanted to fly. First, she tied her favorite superhero cape around her neck, hiked to the top of a humongous grassy hill, and sprinted as fast as she could down the steep slope. But as quickly as she ran, her feet never left the ground. Next, she sat on a swing and pumped her legs so hard she almost flipped over the top of the swing set. Right when she was at the highest point, she leapt into the breeze. But the breeze didn't catch her, and she hit the sand with a thud. Willa stayed hopeful because she saved her best idea for last. She collected every scrap of paper she could find and crafted a giant paper airplane. She glued and taped all of the edges together, creating the world's coziest cockpit. It was so stable, she just knew it would take her frolicking through the air. With her goggles on, ready for takeoff, she leapt, she jumped, but her airplane just wouldn't budge. Defeated, she came inside, ready to give up. All of her plans failed, and she was filled with disappointment. Her dad had one more idea. "Come with me," he said. He took her outside and told her to climb up onto his shoulders. "Stand up," he said. "I'll hold your ankles." Bravely, Willa put her feet on her dad's shoulders, straightened her legs, and stretched her arms out to the side like big, beautiful wings. A gargantuan gust of wind came whipping through the air, and she finally felt like she was flying. Suddenly, the wind grew so powerful that Willa lost her balance. From high up in the air, she stumbled and came falling down fast. Closing her eyes, she waited to feel her body hit the ground. But instead, she landed softly in her dad's strong arms. She wrapped her hands around his neck and didn't let go. The protection of her dad's embrace made her feel even more free than the leaves. "I guess I'm not like the wind," she said. "But that's okay. The wind is inside of you," Willa's dad said to her. "You are free like the leaves and dance more beautifully than they ever will. The wind in your heart will take you anywhere in the world you want to go. You just need to be brave enough to jump."
If you don't have Vooks, what are you waiting for? It's a kid-safe, ad-free library full of storybooks that are brought to life. Ask your grown-up and start exploring more fun stories like these. Seriously, you have to check it out.
Thanks for watching. For more stories, try the Vooks app for free today.